It is the determination of the Science and Security Board of the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists that the world has not made sufficient progress on existential risks threatening all of humanity. We thus move the clock forward. Any move towards midnight should be taken as an indication of extreme danger and an unmistakable warning. This is the closest the world has ever been to midnight. Arms control treaties are in tatters, and there are active conflicts involving nuclear powers. The world's attempts to deal with climate change remain inadequate, as most governments fail to enact the financing and policy initiatives necessary to halt global warming. Advances in an array of disruptive technologies, including biotechnology, artificial intelligence, and in space, have far outpaced policy, regulation, and a thorough understanding of their consequences. All of these dangers are greatly exacerbated by a potent threat multiplier: the spread of misinformation, disinformation, and conspiracy theories that degrade the communication ecosystem and increasingly blur the line between truth and falsehood.
The only effective response is for nations to work together, which is why it is so alarming that President Trump has signaled his intention to withdraw from the Paris Agreement. In this crucial year for climate action, we urge all other signatories to double down and reaffirm their commitment to meeting the Paris goals.
On the same day, Moscow said Ukraine struck deep into Russia with U.S.-made ATACMS missiles, President Vladimir Putin lowered Russia's threshold for a nuclear response to be able to respond to a broader range of conventional attacks. Russia has the world's biggest nuclear arsenal, and Putin is the main decision maker on how to use it. The change was published on the 1,000th day of the war in Ukraine and drew swift rebuke from its president, Volodymyr Zelensky.
Especially this day, they presented nuclear weapons strategy. Why? They didn't present peace strategy. Did you hear it? Did you read about it? No, of course. Of course, nuclear weapons strategy. Putin wants war.
Speaking in Brazil, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov warned against cherry-picking what's in the new doctrine, saying, "I hope this doctrine will be read." The old one said Russia could fight nuclear with nuclear or use nuclear weapons against a conventional attack that threatened its very existence. Analysts say the big change now is that Russia could consider a nuclear strike in response to a conventional attack that posed what it called a critical threat to its sovereignty or territory. Together, Russia and the U.S. control 88% of the world's nuclear warheads. The U.S. National Security Council said it had not seen any reason to adjust its nuclear posture. Moscow has been warning the West for months that if Washington gave the green light to Ukraine to fire U.S., British, and French missiles deep into Russia, it would consider those NATO members to be directly involved in the war. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer spoke to reporters from the G20 in Brazil.
There's irresponsible rhetoric coming from Russia, and that is not going to deter our support for Ukraine.
Moscow's forces are advancing at their fastest pace since the early weeks of the conflict, with some Russian and Western officials alike saying the war could be entering its final and most dangerous phase.
Missiles supplied by the U.S. to hit inside Russia. Until now, the president had resisted this position, concerned it could escalate Russia's war in Ukraine into something even larger. Kelly O'Donnell is traveling with the president in Brazil. And Kelly, this move, coming as President Biden only has a couple months left in office, seems meant to send a message.
Exactly right, Hallie. Good evening. This is a notable shift in policy. Two U.S. officials tell NBC News the Biden administration is giving Ukraine the green light to use American-made long-range weapons for limited strikes inside Russia. Until now, President Biden had restricted the use of American-made weapons to the Ukrainian battlefield to prevent a wider war. But the president is also alarmed by North Korea sending thousands of its own soldiers to help Russia. And given the sensitivity of this change and military operations, the White House and the Pentagon are not commenting publicly on this. Hallie?
And Kelly, this is almost certain to come up where you are in South America as the president heads to the last international summit of his presidency.
That is right, but President Biden became the first sitting president today to tour the Amazon rainforest here in Brazil, so making a little history before he joins the other leaders of the G20 summit, where they will be focused on the stability of relations with allies and the U.S., including support for Ukraine. That, of course, before President-elect Trump returns to office.
В боевых условиях было проведено в том числе и испытание одной из новейших. В ответ на применение американского и британского дальнобойного оружия 21 ноября текущего года российские вооруженные силы нанесли комбинированный удар по одному из объектов оборонно-промышленного комплекса Украины. В боевых условиях было проведено в том числе и испытание одной из новейших российских ракетных систем средней дальности. В данном случае с баллистической ракетой в безъядерном гиперзвуковом оснащении. Мы считаем себя вправе применять наше оружие против военных объектов тех стран,
面对外部的威胁，我政府会持续捍卫民主自由的宪政体制，有信心也有能力守护国家安全。
这个区域，你的行动已影响我国海域秩序及安全，请立即转向尽速驶离危险之处。
我可以告诉你的是，台独与台海和平水火不容，台独势力的挑衅必然会遭到反制。
In over a year. So we are seeing very dramatic scenes today of tens of thousands, perhaps hundreds of thousands of people streaming back on foot, walking along the coast toward their former homes in northern Gaza. We also see some movement of private vehicles moving through checkpoints that are manned by private American security firms. Now, this does not mean that the war is over. This is not an end to the war, but it is an end to the war as we have known it in these past few months. As part of this pullback, Israeli troops are now confined largely to a buffer zone along the border with Gaza. This is allowing the first free movement of Palestinian civilians in over a year. that means that the battlefield will change. Prime Minister Netanyahu has not committed to ending the war. Those talks are expected to begin soon, but it will be much harder when this first phase of the ceasefire resumes after 42 days in early March. It will be much harder for Israeli ground troops to move around and operate as they have for most of this past year.
First Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 3, and it reads, "For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape." Call Halal Yahweh, Ba'Shem HaMashiach Yahweh Shai, Rahar Rukah Kodash. Double honors to the mighty men, the elders, and the apostles in the community, waking up the lost sheep of the house of Israel in these last days. Peace and blessings to everyone doing this truth and humbleness, sincerity. Again, I'm going to say shalom. Yeah, a lot of events happened throughout this week. And, hearts and prayers really go out to the lost Israelites that died in that crash. I know a lot of Israel was in there, unfortunately, but the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is visiting this earth. And remember how 2024 ended? You had the South Korean jet slide and it crashed into the wall. Then you had another jet in that region close to Russia where it crash landed and 16 people died. And then you had this. A Black Hawk helicopter took out a passenger jet, okay? When you look at the videos, there was literally nothing the captains could do to prevent that disaster. But that was the Most High judgment, okay? And as the time of the second and final Exodus gets closer and closer, the judgments are going to increase, okay? Now, it's pretty tragic, but he's the king of terrors, okay? Isaiah 45 and 7, roughly paraphrasing, the Most High create good and evil, and it's the Most High that dictate these judgments, right? But when you look at the post, something else has happened, which I'm not seeing a lot of talk about. The doomsday clock was moved closer to that midnight hour, as you've seen in the video post. And the warning signs, okay, the warning signs are there. The warning signs are only going to increase. I kind of did a timeline when, NATO began to arm Ukraine with ATACMS, and there's a condition where Biden, Joseph Biden, your former president, he gave long-range missiles to Taiwan. A lot of conditions happening on this planet Earth that's going to lead to the deliverance of the elect 12 tribes of Israel and the total fall of this kingdom. Okay, let's see. You had also, I don't even call it a ceasefire. You have all the people that left Palestine. They're trying to go back to what's left of their homes. And you have Babylon the Great telling the people they shouldn't go back. The current president-elect saying they should move to a new location. And we all know who's really calling the shots regarding that condition in the so-called Middle East. But it's a lot going on, family. But again, to the lost ones, chiefly the 12 tribes that was up there in that DC area, unfortunately, the Most High is going to continue to bring this judgment. Let's get a couple of scriptures, and I'm going to wind this down. let's see what the Most High say in the book of 2nd Esdras. Let's go to the classic real quick. I'm trying to get chapter 9. Let me see if that's what I want. We're going to read 2nd Ezra chapter 9 and verse 1 from the top. And it reads, He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Okay. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, verse 4, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. Verse 5, for like as all that is made in the world had a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. Even so the times also of the highest have plain beginnings and wonders and powerful works and endings in effects and signs. And it's a lot of signs. The chariots. I live on the East Coast, upstate New York, and you see chariots, family, you even see them in the day. Okay. There was one, it's like the sunlight was hitting it during the sunrise, and that joker he just cloaked away. It's just getting more rampant, the signs and wonders and the coming into this kingdom and the deliverance of the 12 tribes. It's imminent, okay? At some point it's going to give, and keep in mind, when you revert to my last video, America's entering the 250. And we know historically kingdoms don't make it beyond that. Now, some kingdoms might have little extension afterwards, but ultimately the Most High judged these kingdoms. And you can read that in Daniel's the 2nd chapter, okay? Something serious is coming, and I'm banking on the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob and the deliverance of the Israelites out of this captivity, if it be of the Most High. Let's see. 2nd Ezra chapter 9 and verse 7, it reads, And everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith, where ye have believed. And it's going to take believing chiefly and keeping the commandments and walking in the laws of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Because these judgments, they're going to keep happening. Let's get a few more, and I'm going to end this video. Let's get 2nd Ezra 15 and verse. I'm going to get straight to the point. 2nd Ezra chapter 15 and verse 11, it reads, But I will bring them with a mighty hand and stretched out arm and smite Egypt with plagues as before. That's the key. That Egypt isn't talking about ancient Egypt. This Egypt is talking about the United States of America. And you can get all the Egypt accounts started from the Deuteronomy 28:68 account and observe all the Isaiah accounts. Israel is often referred to as Egyptians in the Isaiah accounts. And that Egypt is talking about America. Let's read that from the top. 2nd Ezra chapter 15 and verse 11. But I will bring them with a mighty hand and stretched out arm and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof. Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that the Most High shall bring upon it. Okay, and we've seen that with these plane crashes. Okay, you had more earthquakes on the East Coast. The wildfires never really faded in Los Angeles. there's a rainstorm that's going to turn to ice to hit this entire region as of, I believe, Friday into Saturday. So the judgment's only going to increase. Okay? And the only way to avoid this is to keep the commandments, especially for you newcomers into the Israelite community. Keep the commandments, because the Most High not playing, man. More judgments will manifest before us. Okay? More draconian law, lockdown decrees. Okay? A lot of things is going to happen as that day get closer and closer. See if there's any more. Let me see if there's any more. I want to get the classic. I'm going to end it here in Exodus 21:16. Okay. These evangelicals, okay, Slack, if I didn't say that right, a lot of them voted for this current president that's in office right now. And a lot of them, their reports, I had a source bring out, they were praying to him as like he was Slack, like he was the Son of Man when he was sworn in. He's just a puppet for the powers that be. And the Most High brought an unfortunate judgment because America from 1619 to 2025 continues to mock the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And in return, he's judging this place tenfold. We're going to end it here. And for our brothers and sisters in the world, let it be a warning. The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is not playing. He is not playing with America. He's not only going to just judge this place, we're witnessing, the nuclear missiles going to come in and bring in that exodus out of this fire into the wilderness, into the kingdom. That's Ezekiel, the 20th chapter. That's coming too. Okay. Exodus chapter 21:16, and it reads, "And he that stood a man and sold him, or if he be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death." And that's a message to these elites that stole the children of Israel, scattered them to the four corners of the earth, prophetically, mind you. But in the end, God's going to save the 12 tribes of Israel, and he's going to judge these wicked elites, chiefly the children of Edom, the other nations, but mainly the wicked elite powers that be, led by the Dukes of Edom. The Most High coming to shut it down. And these judgments only going to increase. I'm going to read this one last time. We're going to end it. Exodus 21:16, and it reads, "And he that stood a man and sold him, or if he be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death." And that's going to be 100-fold with these judgments, okay? And to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, send his son, Mashiach Yahushua, to deliver his chosen. And America's going to be blown off the map. As is written in Revelation, the 18th chapter. In 1 hour, this place will be no more, roughly paraphrasing. Okay. And with that, I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Yahweh, Ba'Shem Mashiach Yahushua. Double honors to my men, the elders, and the apostles, and the community, waking up the lost sheep, the house of Israel in these last days. Peace and blessings to everyone doing this truth in humbleness and sincerity. Israel, I love y'all. We got next. Shalom, family.